Welcome back to the Beauty Boss Millionaire podcast with daily on-the-go episodes packed with testimonies and business tips to help you create financial freedom through entrepreneurship. Hosted by the owner of Fracassi Lashes and the Blow Dry Lounge, the Beauty Boss Millionaire herself, Felicia Fracassi.
Welcome back to the Beauty Boss Millionaire. I'm your host, Felicia Fracassi, and the objective of this episode is to identify good habits and bad habits to either break or some habits that you may need to start in your business. Now, I'm just going to jump right into it. Habits can be either good or bad depending on what you're doing with your habits, because we all in some way form habits, but we're not always aware that we're forming these things. Especially with business, it has a tendency to just throw you all kinds of curveballs. You'll be starting one thing and then something else seems to be more urgent, so you jump to that, and then next thing you know, you get a phone call, and then that's going on for longer than you expected. And then lastly, you have your high priority and you have your low priority. It seems like it would be obvious, but I see people often that don't actually know that there are categories to how you should be handling things first. And never get these two confused, because something can be very, very urgent as far as the creativity of your business and handling things. But then you're also forced to respond to emails. You respond to customers. There's something going on brewing in the background. So sometimes when there's all these things happening at once, you're not really sure sometimes what to tackle first. And it's funny that I'm talking about this because this literally happened to me today. I woke up early. I was up too early. I actually never wake up this early, but I was up at like 5:30 in the morning. I had a bad dream so I was up and my husband was like, "Girl, why are you like up stressing out?" I was like, "I had this bad dream. Let's pray." And he's like, "All right, he's my man, so he's going to hold it down with me." So, he prayed with me and then he rolled over and that was that. But my point is that I woke up early, and once I woke up, I felt like I needed to handle a lot of things at once. And I had to just stop, take a moment, and I just stopped and I looked and I said, okay, before I even tackle this, let's figure out what's high priority and what's low priority. And honestly, most entrepreneurs can relate to this story, because when you start to get really busy, things can hit you all at once. And what seemed like high priority, which was, answering these emails, because, when you wake up in the morning, you have like 50, 60 emails, or if not more. And then also I hate all the spam mail. Like I always just hit unsubscribe. That's something that you should be doing. And then you have things that are really, truly high priority. And what I mean by that is before even all the email responding, I had to handle an urgent matter because my physician actually texted me and he has to quarantine. I'm just using that for an example, which is true. It's a true example. But what's so stressful about this whole situation is that I had to go immediately into backtrack mode, and I had to immediately figure out a plan of action, which I already had one in place, which was sending in someone to disinfect the store, checking on, obviously, my doctor, because he does all the Botox, Xeomin injections, lip fillers, and all these other things. And then I also had to immediately clear out the schedule. And mind you, all those emails are brewing, which seemed like high priority because I'm actually in the process of opening up another location, and I have to respond to a proposal probably like today. So even though it felt like it was urgent, I had to handle the other things. So just make sure that your list, and sometimes, as much as I would love to say that there's going to be a list, sometimes your list needs to be in your head. You can't write down everything in the beginning. If you have a business that's like a little slower, you might want to write down in the morning, take a few minutes while you're having your coffee and write down high priority bucket versus low priority bucket. But with me, I'm literally already up. Like I said, I was already up really early. So I just kind of started mentally doing my list of what needed to take high priority versus low priority. So a lot of times people get into these habits of just going into what they think is urgent, but it's really not urgent. It still needs to be handled, but not as immediate as your brain is telling you. And I've seen entrepreneurs do this before. It can really ruin your business because you're not putting those things that are high priority first. Another habit that I think is important for people to break is by not allowing others to create your schedule. Anyone that's new in this business, sometimes they have an unrestricted calendar, meaning that you don't really have restrictions on your calendar. But as you start to get busy, you need to have restrictions on your calendar. Now, I'm not saying this in a way to be bougie or anything, but I'm saying that there should be time limits of when you can do things, because sometimes people just want to meet and chat and all. I don't like doing all those things. Don't get me wrong. It's good to have those times where you can meet with people, but getting in the car, driving 20 minutes to meet someone, find parking additional 10 minutes or wherever you're at, 5 minutes. Then on top of that, you got to sit down, wait for the waitress and all this when something could have been handled via email. So your calendar really needs to be very limited as far as what you allow people to have. Or try to just do virtual meetings if possible. We're in the era of 2021 where you can do a Zoom meeting, you can do a Skype meeting, you can do any type of meeting, you can do a FaceTime meeting. I feel like your time is valuable and it's very important to just keep that to a limited, restricted calendar, especially as you begin to get very busy. You shouldn't be just running and jumping to any opportunity. Anyone that knows me closely, and especially even my team, they know something has to be extremely urgent if I'm there and present, because especially if one of my locations, when I'm going from different city to city, there's a lot of times where I don't really need to be there because my managers, I entrust them and I'm delegating responsibility, as we talked about in a previous episode, and I've taken the time out to train them up so they can kind of think like I think. But if I am present, then that means something is really urgent. But most of the time I just go in and check a location, everything's fine. I do inventory, make sure everything looks good, and I'm out. But like I said, there's times where people want to meet with me. They want to especially salespeople. Those are the people where you have to really screen your salespeople. They'll call your business while you're at work. They'll interrupt your time and there's some times where I will take the call depending on what I need. And there's some times where I don't take the call. And even those calls, this girl literally told me today, a sales rep, as I'm driving in the G-Wagon with the window rolled down on my way to the store. This little girl had the nerve, and I say little girl because she had to be 17 or 18. She was a sales rep and she said, well, this is really urgent. Just pull over and sign this contract. I said, listen to me. I respect that you're an ambitious saleswoman. I actually admire that in you, and very good job. I said, but I can't just pull over to sign this contract. I need to actually get to my place of business so I can handle this, and I will sign this contract tonight. Because her commission's on the line. She's worried about her sale. But I'm also worried about my priority. It's something that seems so simple, but you will have people literally trying to carve their schedule around yours, and you just have to do what's best for you and your business at the time. And one last thing before we go into part 2 of this is I want to really stress that as you begin to get busy, this is a special note to anyone that has a family. I want you to block off family time. And I really mean this. I know you're an ambitious entrepreneur or you're building your business, and I get it because I've been there before. But there's times where you have to just shut everything down and just be present with your family. As I'm telling you this, I'm also reminding myself of this because I am a very ambitious woman. However, my priority, like today, after I handled all that, I actually just turned off my phone, signed the contract, sent it back to the young lady, and I just spent time with my daughter and my son, turned everything off, and I just enjoyed her. It was only for 30 minutes, which felt like a really long time for me because I had other things to do. But I just made that time just for us to unwind. And a lot of people have this problem of turning off once they're plugged in. It's like you're plugged into the matrix. You can't get out. I've been there. I've done that. And I'm telling you, it's not healthy. Because people that are wired like we are, we're entrepreneurs. We want to be millionaires. We want to be billionaires. There involves some type of sacrifice, and you don't want to sacrifice your family. The sacrifice needs to be cutting time down shorter for things that are less important. Up next, we're going to talk on how you can really be busy but yet ineffective. That's part 2 of this. Good versus bad habits. You're tuning in to the Beauty Boss Millionaire with Felicia Fracassi.
That's it for today. Tune in tomorrow for the Beauty Boss Millionaire podcast. And don't forget to follow the Beauty Boss Millionaire, Felicia Fracassi, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Beauty Boss Millionaire.